Deze.
What's up boys, welkom bij Stanley Parable. Ik heb de afgelopen dagen 3 games gratis kunnen krijgen op de Epic Games Store. Dit is één ervan. Ik dacht eigenlijk Watch Dogs te spelen. Nog één van de 3 games. Maar dat heeft niet genoeg hersenen om op te starten. Het enige dat het kan doen, is mij een 2 uur tijd verspillen aan account, wachtwoord en van al die rotzooi. Dus ja. De derde game was World War Z. En ik heb de film gezien, het was een geweldige film. En dat is dan ook één van de redenen dat ik de game wou proberen. En ik vind deze nice. Dat gaat in de oneindigheid door. En ik had in de opties al de controles veranderd, zodat ze oké waren voor mij. En van het moment dat ik hier bij audio was, als ik de game had opgestart, hoorde je mensen in de achtergrond. Van het moment dat ik opties, audio klikte, stopte dat allemaal. En nu is het niet normaal stil. En ik heb geen idee wat ik heb gedaan. Laten we het spel beginnen. End is never the end is never the end is loading. En ik heb deze game ook gezien. Maar ik ben school's vergeten wat er gebeurt. Het enige dat ik nog weet, is dat er meerdere eindes zijn. Jij bent Stanley. Het kan compleet gestoord worden. En er is een hilarische stem. Hallo. Nou, dit duurt lang. Even, ik snap niet. Normaal heb ik hier bij mijn vader geweldig internet. Maar nu gisteren had mijn had mijn computer alle moeite met alles dat met internet te maken had. Alsof dit mijn PlayStation is bij mijn moeder. Wat nog minder logisch is. Want bijvoorbeeld, mijn PlayStation staat voor me. Mijn gsm naast me. Die zijn een meter van elkaar. Ongeveer even ver van de router. 3 meter. Mijn gsm heeft perfect internet. En mijn PlayStation merkt er niks van. En we hebben kabelinternet. Technisch gezien. Nou ja. We hebben de kabel en de doos. Hoe de fuck moet ik deze uitleggen?
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
En het werkt niet. Oké.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day, every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Deze sensitivity is vreselijk. Eens zien. Weten veel. Ja, dat is wel oké. Effectief over het toetsenbord klikken doet niks, maar ergens is...
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No.
Sensitivity. Ietsje lager.
This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Ik heb niks gedaan. Oké, waar is het gebeurd?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oké. Dat is te weinig, dit is te veel. Hoeveel verschil maakt de sensitivity?
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Oh, sneller ik mijn muis beweeg. Wow. Als ik mijn muis sneller beweeg voor dezelfde afstand, dan beweegt het meer. Wat? Oké. Nu weet ik dus wat ze hiermee bedoelen. Oké. Ik heb geklikt en er is niets gebeurd. Ik heb de achievements een beetje bekeken. Er is iets met deur 430 denk ik. Dat is terug.
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No, 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 no. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Ik heb nu zeker al 100 keer geklikt.
I have to say I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes,
Okay,
almost certainly 50 clicks. No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Oké, 417. Waar de hel is dat?
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
Oké, dit wordt zoiets. Oké. Waar is 437?
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
Nou, deze was ik vergeten.
Now, back to door number 437. Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine? All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
Okay.
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk. Yes! This is great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416. We've almost got it! Now the copy machine, do that one again!
Dit wordt raar. Het klinkt als iemand van Londen op dit moment.
Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430! Yes! We did it! Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now, what were you thinking?
Kijk, deze is gewoon mij de hele tijd sensitivity aanpassen. I hate deze. Wie niet? Wat staat daar? Kan ik niet lezen.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Wacht. Deze herinner ik me nog. Er gebeurt iets als je er rechts in gaat, maar ik ga eerst gewoon doen wat hem zegt. En dan ga ik het compleet negeren. Volgende. Klik op alles. Je vindt wel iets.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Oké. Wie bedient dat ding? Oké, dit is leuk.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA. Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused. You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
Omdat hij het zo zegt, doet het juist klinkt.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning. Stanley was fat and ugly and really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Oké, dat is beledigend. En nu blijf
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. He or she has fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place at the computer, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Nope. Ik hou nu al van deze game. Oké dan. Ja, wint.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ooh. What's this? Next. Dat doet me elke keer een beetje verschiet als de deur zomaar slaat. Dat is niks. Maar je ziet er wel iets.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Bedankt, stem. My God. Oh, okay. Fuck, let's go.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Oké, ik zie niks. Correctie, ik zie iets.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Ik ga eerst even hier binnen.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Oké. Deze game is gewoon raar aan het worden.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Nou, dit is raar.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Okay.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Oké, dit gedeelte herinner ik. En waar de hel moet ik heen? Next. Even serieus, wat de hel moet ik doen?
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Is het gedaan? Nee.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Ik zie daar iets.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Is nog niet open.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Oké. Ik weet dat er iets is in die controlekamer met al die knoppen dat je de wereld compleet om zeep kunt helpen. Daar herinner ik me nog. Ik herinner me ook dat je iets kunt doen waardoor dat de stem compleet doordraait, heel boos is en er gewoon overal pijlen zijn. En dat ga ik proberen te doen. Maar ik denk dat je dat krijgt als je hem niet naar hem luistert. Dus in plaats van de linkse deur de rechter, dat ga ik nu doen. Als het wilt praten.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
Oké, dit is anders. Komen daar zelfs langs. Nee, toch.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Nope.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Ja, laten we dat doen.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Dit is interessant. Wat? Dus als je dood bent, moet je $5000 betalen. Yay!
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Okay. Yeah, we stopped it. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Psych.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Yay.
What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Een van die doors gaat vallen. Nee?
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Fuck you.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Nee, blauw.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Nee, ik ga er blauw.
All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
Yep.
Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Well. Okay. 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 Okay.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Nah, fuck you.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Oké, dit is hilarisch.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain.
Dat zou ik willen, maar het wil niet
What do we
starten.
have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Oké. Dit is geweldig. En wat gaan we nu krijgen? Oh, mijn vader heeft de oude computer die hier onder mijn bureau stond meegenomen om te gebruiken voor.
Well, Stanley, is this any better?
Yes!
At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here, no, here, and then...
Okay.
Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course, and just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. Ah, but you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Als die dat serieus doet, dan ga ik botsen. Dingen bouwen uit de diamond. Dat is enkel.
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
Of om te tonen hoe rijk ze zijn. Niet om gewoon te bouwen. Dat doe je gewoon niet.
Oh, no, 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 no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
Zei hij nou dat Minecraft slecht is? Maak van die stem een echt persoon, zet hem naast me en geef me een geweer. Serieus. En we zijn bijna 3 kwartier bezig. Na deze zal ik de video eindigen. Portal.
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
moet ik altijd gestoord worden als ik iets bezig ben. Wat staat er? Kan het niet deze? Kan het niet deze? Oeh. Laat. Wat is dit? Nu, ik weet dat deze game korter is. Enkel met de muziek herken ik het. En ja, dit allemaal.
It's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
Joink. Companion Cube. Blijf
Genius.
altijd. Ik wil je nooit meer zien.
No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble.
Waarom? Wacht, wat? Oké, nu ben ik in de war. Het is hier zo donker. Wat is dit? Oké. Oh boy. 427, dat zijn wij. Ik zie niks. Ik heb geen idee wat we moeten doen. En dit is raar.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Oké. Nou, dat was raar. Deze game is gewoon raar. Oké.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Kan ik deze speedrunnen? Dat is een van de opdrachten.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Nou, dat is gezellig.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Nou is dat niet gezellig. En ik denk dat ik het hier ga laten. Als het nu opnieuw begint, ga ik het hier. Yep. Dus ik hoop dat jullie hebben genoten. Abonneer, like, laat iets in reacties achter. Laat achter of dat jullie willen zien of dat ik al de endings en achievements haal. Zo ja, dat zal ik ook doen. Proberen. En ik zie jullie allemaal in de volgende video.